Hebrews chapter 9. Now even the first covenant had regulations for worship and an earthly sanctuary. For a tabernacle was constructed, the outer one, in which were the lampstand, the table, and the bread of offering. This was called the holy place. Behind the second veil was the tabernacle called the Holy of Holies, in which were the gold altar of incense and the Ark of the Covenant, entirely covered in gold. In it were the gold jar containing the manna, the staff of Aaron that had sprouted, and the tablets of the covenant. Above it were the cherubim of glory overshadowing the place of expiation. Now's not the time to speak of these in detail. With these arrangements for worship, the priest, in performing their service, entered into the outer tabernacle repeatedly. But the high priest alone goes into the inner one once a year, not without blood, that he offers for himself and for the sins of the people. In this way, the Holy Spirit shows that the way into the inner sanctuary had not yet been revealed, while the outer one still held its place. This is a symbol at this present time in which sacrifices are offered that cannot perfect the worshiper in conscience, but only in matters of food and drink and various ritual washings. Regulations concerning the flesh imposed until a time of the new order. But when Christ came as high priest of the good things that have come to be, passing through the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made by hands, that is not belonging to this creation, he entered into the sanctuary, not with the blood of calves and bulls, but with his own blood, thus obtaining eternal salvation. For the blood of goats and bulls and the sprinkling of heifers' ashes can sanctify those whose flesh is defiled, so that it is cleansed. How much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, cleanse our consciences from dead works to worship the living God. For this reason, Jesus is mediator of a new covenant, since a death has taken place for deliverance from transgressions under the first covenant. Those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance. Now, where there is a will, the death of the testator must be established. For a will takes effect only at a death. It has no force while the testator is alive. Not even the first covenant was inaugurated without blood. When Moses had read the commandments to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of goats and calves together with water, crimson wool, and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people with the blood, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant which God has enjoined upon you." In this same way, he sprinkled the tabernacle and all the vessels of worship with the blood. For according to the law, almost everything can be purified by blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. Therefore, it was necessary for the copies of heavenly things to be purified by these rites, but the heavenly things themselves by better sacrifice than these. For Christ did not enter into an earthly sanctuary, a copy of the true one, but into heaven itself, that he might stand before God on our behalf. Not that he might offer himself repeatedly, as the high priest enters each year into the sanctuary with blood that is not his own. If that were so, Christ would have had to have suffered repeatedly from the foundation of the world. But now he has appeared once and for all at the end of the ages to take away sin by his sacrifice. Just as it is appointed for human beings to die once, and after this the judgment, so also Christ offered once to take away the sins of the many. He will return a second time, not to take away sin, but to bring salvation to those who eagerly await him.